I shredded. I was never told not to shred. I shredded because I thought it was the right thing to do.
You are hereby released on the conditions indicated. These conditions will be in effect until your case is disposed of or until they are changed or amended by a judge.
No!
Personal recognizances?
No!
Mother's custody?
No!
Man, let's have a revolution.
His name is Haile Selassie. Power of the Trinity.
Jump. Jumping is it. Jumping is what it's all about. If you can't jump, this isn't your sport.
Jesus Christ, second coming. Yes, positively. Then, now, eternally.
Fear factor is just, I don't know, it's something that drives me, it pushes me. It's something, if you see a big cliff that you don't really think you can make and you're having second thoughts, that's when I think it gets fun.
Yes, positively. Then, now, eternally.
Yes?
What's the most important thing to you right now?
Trying to find a 59 dying station wagon.
And food.
I'm not worried about food. Once I get the wagon, I'll be able to drive anywhere in the world and eat. I just need to get there.
The life of a man in exile is a difficult one. Looked up to by his peers and down upon by society and its standards. Occasionally, these people in exile excel so far that what was once considered extreme becomes the new standard. That's what this movie's about. Up until now, snowboarders have never had real movies to call their own. Small segments in ski movies just weren't enough. It was time for a real snowboard movie to be made. If for nothing else, for those people who've watched the sport grow from its infancy. Those people who still remember being exiled from most major ski areas. A lot has changed since those early days. Snowboarders are allowed most everywhere now. Because every day, people like Damian Sanders, Steve Graham, Dave Seoane, and Chris Roach push snowboarding to the limits. The problem with taking something to the limits is that most people aren't ready for it. New ideas are very rarely welcomed with open arms. They look at you funny because your idea is new, not because it's bad. The biggest problem with any new idea is breaking down those barriers of misunderstanding and misconception. You can often be treated like a second-class citizen, not allowed the same privileges as everyone else. That was our problem. People assumed that snowboarders were not as good as skiers, and therefore didn't fully respect and appreciate the ability and skill of these athletes. We felt it was time to set the record straight. And so began the adventures of Snowboarders in Exile. First stop, Blackcomb, British Columbia, a spot called Lemmings Leap, named so by locals who watch numerous skiers try to use it as a straight jump, not understanding re-entry. To Chris Roach, a dream come true, a 20-foot high quarter pipe with 5 feet of vertical.
I came across her from my memory. She meant everything to me. She meant every word she said. When she said, I'll never love again. Be my ex until the end, 'cause I know I'll never feel this way again. She's just my ex. She's my ex. She must follow. I'm the weakest one. I can't expect she'll change her ways. Can't accept the things she's done. She's just my ex. Nothing more, nothing less. She's just my ex. Just my ex. Nothing more, nothing less. But she'll always be my ex. She's my ex. Don't cross her path. She still belongs to me. She'll be my ex till I say when, till I get her back again. 'Cause I know I'd never love again. Never need another friend. And I know I'll never feel this way again. She's just my ex. Nothing more, nothing less. But she'll always be my ex. She's my ex. She'll cross my mind 1,000 times today. Still have a million things to say. Guess I'm better off this way. 'Cause I know she'll never love again. I'll be my ex until the end. And I know I'll never feel this way again. She's just my ex. Nothing more, nothing less. But she's still my ex. And I can never kiss that face goodbye. 'Cause I can never stop to wonder why. She looks so pretty. She looks so pretty. And I know I'll never feel this way again. She's just my ex. Just my ex. She'll always be my ex. She's just my ex.
Freeriding's probably the best part about the sport because you just go out with your friends and you have a great time and everybody's just pushing each other to the limits. And I think that's what it's all about, just getting big air and having a great time. No one really cares that, like, if you don't do the biggest air or something, they're not going to condemn you for it. It's not like in a half pipe, you're not being judged. So you're out there just having a good time. You're being judged by your friends, but it's all in good fun.
John, in John, for John, in John.
Webster's definition of exile is expulsion from one's country, banishment, prolonged absence from home or country. American ski area has labeled us too extreme, told us we were on the lunatic fringe, so we fled to Canada, where we heard they didn't care what you did. There were no out of bounds and no such thing as a contingency fee lawyer. We felt like we'd been in exile. We'd been in Canada for 10 cold days. But to tell you the truth, it wasn't so bad. Blackcomb and Whistler are located in British Columbia. They're two separate resorts that are connected by some of Canada's most rugged and beautiful terrain. They share in steepness, deep powder, and an open-mindedness towards snowboarding. While we were there, it snowed 9 out of 10 days. Sometimes it would snow so hard that from one run to the next, our tracks would be fully covered. We took the cameras out every day because this is what snowboarding is about.
Don't you turn your lovely soul into grain. Enjoy the flight, it's a nice one, it's a nice one, yeah! The hardships that we experience, oh, translate our dreams, so real by the mean. Now don't you turn your little lovely soul into grain. Enjoy the flight, it's a nice one, it's a nice one. Ah!
Well, I think snowboarding is always going to grow and get more popular and more people get into it. But the more experienced riders are just going to start. I mean, there's only so much you can really do in a trick. Everything's getting reverted and landing backwards and maybe another twist on it. But how far can you go? Got to get upside down.
Snowboarder in Exile is a snowboarder who gets kicked out of their local resort and having to travel, into the backcountry or halfway around the world to push their ability more.
When we got back to California, Damian told us about a spot to build a jump in the backcountry. Since the resorts wouldn't allow us to build jumps on their property, we started the hike up Mount Rose.
Truth is that every time you sue, we get limited a little bit more, because in America you can't do anything anymore. People think it doesn't affect you, but every time we go out to build a jump, somebody hassles us. Every time we build a jump at a ski resort, we're building the most incredible jump. You would have had footage of this jump in this video if it weren't for lawsuits. But the ski patrol made us tear it down at Squaw Valley because of lawsuits. So every time you sue America, you're messing up my life, and I'll find you.
That's just what he said.
Weather reports came in from Jackson Hole. Big storms were blasting across Wyoming, fresh powder. We loaded up Dave's Subaru and headed out across the desert.
That's just what he said.
Or any top ramen list. The scariest thing about snowboarding is free riding with Steve Graham, following him on his tail and following him off a drop off and not knowing what's behind it.
A thought's there though.
That's the scariest thing about snowboarding.
The 20-hour drive from Lake Tahoe didn't seem like that much when we got to Jackson and saw the snow. It was some of the best snow they'd had all year. Every night, 12 to 18 inches of new would fall. And on a mountain with over 4,000 feet of vertical, this was a good thing.
Flaking like an old paint chipping, like a dowager shaking, like a subway rolling, like a flower I'm losing all of my senses. You know I am using all of my senses. Freezing like an icicle bending, like a rain cloud rumbling, like a sidewalk mending, like a shroud dissolving, like a snowflake sailing, like an arrow splitting, like an eggshell sailing, like a sparrow I'm using all of my senses. You know I am.
Free riding is going out with your friends and adapting to the terrain and just fucking it up.
You say you're sensitive. Well, hey, that's the way I want you to live. The lights are too bright in the daytime, but that's alright with me. You say dowager shaking like a subway rolling, like a flower I'm using all of my senses.
Snowboarding in Exile is someone who travels to a different resort to push his luck somewhere else.
All of my senses freezing like an icicle bending, like a rain cloud rumbling, like a sidewalk mending, like a shroud dissolving, like a snowflake sailing, like an arrow splitting, like an eggshell singing, like a sparrow I'm using all of my senses. You know I am using all of my senses.
Besides deep powder, Jackson is famous for its tram. It can take you from the bottom of the mountain to the top, 4,139 vertical feet in just under 10 minutes. Jackson's cliffs, steeps, and couloirs compare with the best. And in Jackson, even on a weekend after a storm, it's very unlikely you'll have to wait in line.
Is there life after death? I wanna bury you in the grave. You got most control, I still behave. Do you know any vampires, or is that just make-believe? Can you really conceive manifest energy? Reincarnation is the topic of the day. Rites of absolution, psyching us away. Word, can you hear it? Do you feel it? Is it the spirit? I wanna know, is there life after death? Life after death, life after death, life after death, life after death. I wanna bury you in the grave. You got most control, I still behave. Do you know any vampires, or is that just make-believe? Can you really conceive manifest energy? Reincarnation is the topic of the day. Rites of absolution, psyching us away. Word, can you feel it? Is it the spirit? I wanna know, is there life after death?
Best thing to do is just wake up, out your mountain, just free ride. That's where the fun is, where you don't have to do a J-tear to impress a few judges.
From Jackson, we drove to Loveland Pass, Colorado. With a little bit of hiking and a thumb to get a ride back to your car, you can make powder turns weeks after a storm. Be aware of avalanche danger, and look for the cars with Boulder sorority stickers on them for the ride back.
Whatever time I see you, it's the same old game. I know where it goes, that is spelling your name. It's a gangster, ice fire, but you can't go home to your own family. Then you bought yourself a limo. You called yourself a hero to be hip was gay. Now you're living like a zero, but the fact of the matter is that you just don't care. That's why you surely call a bum from the jump in your hair. Did you actually forget that you usually know? They have decided not to have it, you have a big ego. We'll always talk about what you did, about who you know, see lust straight from the devil, taught your son out of cause. But that's okay, Mr. Superstar. Put your mansion on the hill and you fool with a box. Cause there ain't much difference between you and me, except for you're a real slave and we're really free. Here's a piece of advice from a little old man. Don't put your trust in the money blind. Send your direction to the land of the east, where the lion has spoken to required beast. Yes, all these people over at West Bev know.
Dave raced back to Tahoe as Steve and the rest of the crew headed to the Varney Vertical Air Show. The storm of the winter had hit Tahoe, 5 new feet in 2 days. Steve Graham won 2 free tickets to Europe on American Airlines, while Dave was winning back in Squaw Valley.
Snowboarding to me is my life right now. I love it. There's nothing that could take me away from it.
Except for board getting stolen.
Except for my board getting stolen. Or breaking something, which I'm not going to do. It means everything to me right now.
Contests are good. I don't think it makes you the best snowboarder because some days you're on, some days you're off. I think everybody should just free ride.
What makes me go off big cliffs is seeing guys do it, and they tell me that I can't do it, and I just disagree with that, and so I try and show them up. I think that any girl can be just as good as any guy.
All the things that he can do. I've heard lots of stories about him, and I know that
In the first years of snowboarding, ski areas wouldn't allow you to use their chairlifts or ride on their property. This exiled snowboarders into the backcountry, where they learned respect for the mountains, number one, and number two, if the snow is good in the resorts, then it's even better in the backcountry. Tom Burt took Damian and Steve to one of his favorite spots, Donner Summit, where the cliffs are big and there's no one to tell you what you can and cannot do.
Hey, baby. Hey, I wanna talk to me. What's the matter? What's wrong?
Life is about taking risks. If you don't take a risk, why even live? You know, and what fun is it to walk around on a rubber world and be afraid of everything? You got to go out there and try to outdo people, because then it's just progression of the world. It makes it more fun to live. You're gonna go big. The next guy's gonna try to go bigger, and that's what it's all about.
Hey, baby. I'm a Gemini. I mean, you must be a Scorpio. That makes us compatible. So what's up?
Graham makes me sick. He does everything and he's gonna get me hurt this year.
As the winter continued, Damian received a call from the Victoria Snowboard World Cup in Japan. They wanted him to compete. Damian, the 1988 Japanese champion, figured this was his chance to win back the title. So with Brandy in tow, they started the Japanese tour. Things have got to change. Right now they say you can't do inverts in competitions, and that's just so ridiculous because that's stopping the complete progression of the sport. The sport is just stagnating at the same old boring moves. was getting ready for the big race when Damian came up with his own ideas for base preparation. With 500 yen and a yen for a good wax job, Damian headed off to the Wax Boy. Unfortunately, a 500 yen wax job lasts about as long as a sushi meal. 20 gates later and you're ready for another serving. The Wax Boy gave out just one gate short of the finish. Chock full of sushi and sake, Damian lost all hope of regaining his Japanese title. But after one last impromptu autograph session in a downtown Tokyo shopping center, we knew the Japanese would never forget Damian or Brandy.
I see it taking a different image than lately. Kind of more skateboard influence. People are gonna start doing some shit. Snowboarders in Exile.
Here it is. Here's Exile, right?
This is Snowboarders in Exile is driving a car that isn't legal, push starting it everywhere, living on the edge. Snowboarders in Exile.
A snowboarder in exile is someone who finds themselves flying to France for the single reason of pushing his limits to the next degree. Chamonix is one of the most massive and liberal resorts in the world. There, they don't care what you do as long as you pay the hospital bill. This was the obvious choice for Brian Harper, Dave Seoane, and Steve Graham.
So many miles away, and surprise. You say there's no love at first glance. When I don't get off, we can earn a chance. All it took was just one look. Unto you, I can lie this
He made a few turns and I thought he was dead. He was screaming the whole way down and there was nothing we could do about it except watch and wait. And he disappeared for a minute and I was ready to unstrap and go see if we could get him out. And all of a sudden he pops out with his air. Pretty neat.
When we arrived in Switzerland, our first order of business was to secure transportation to France. We didn't seem to be having much luck hitchhiking. Serious measures needed to be taken.
What should they got?
Brian Harper knew where Bert Lamar kept his spare car. It didn't have registration, insurance, a spare tire, a starter, or a key. It was the perfect car for us.
We stole it. We stole this car. This is not our car. Well, actually, this is Bert Lamar's car. He doesn't know that we're using it. I don't know if he's gonna like it too much, but that's too bad. We needed it. I don't think it's gonna be in the same condition as when we picked it up, but we'll get it back somehow.
Yeah, mama and a papa are sitting on the bedboard swing.
Western Front thing.
Yeah, about Western Front. When we saw that movie, we were so impressed by the jumps and everything, and then we saw them turn in the snow, and that was so shitty. What are you doing there in the snow? I don't know. They should stay in the air forever. Competing is something you have to do to get the sponsors, so you don't need to work your ass off to be able to snowboard.
That's exactly it.
That's why I'm competing.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
You only compete to get the sponsors so you can free ride.
Yeah.
What's competing to you, Steve?
That's exactly it.
Is pulling 5 J-tears and winning.
What's competing to you, Dave?
Going to resorts all around the world and seeing people you haven't seen in a while and having a good time. Oh, and then going doing that thing they have the next day.
From out of the garbage and across the great divide, the yumma yumma man who runs with the dancing eyes.
What I like with Chamonix is I'm quite a lot into mobile riding, and you have a lot of mobiles here. A lot of mobiles. They don't go with the machines too much. They just let it be. You have powder when it's powder, and then it's just let it be there, and then you have mobiles.
Because I like it.
Scariest time I ever had in France was Davis driving the car. That guy can't drive, man. Bert's car, by the way. Bert, Dave doesn't drive your car well.
Brian almost went head on. With a bus.
I would have won.
Finally left home when you turned 14. Took the path, left the right for the simple days. Come easy when you've been used. Tried every drug in the neighborhood, but nothing can change your mind but the simple days. Come easy when you've been abused. Life is cheap and money's free. These are what we call the simple things. Desperate now, gun in your mouth. That was the life when you lived for the simple days. Cause it smells outside from atomic tide. You have no money, but nowhere to hide. Things come easy when you know voice. Life is cheap, money's free. These are what we call the simple things.
Everyone gets offended if you don't speak French, but I don't speak French, so I offend everyone.
It's tough. It's like they got a different word for everything.
I will try to protect you from within myself. But the simple things run their course. Simple things come easy when the good things in life aren't free. Simple things come easy when the good things in life aren't free. I can't trust my family or friends. they say.
Chamonix, France was the birthplace of extreme skiing. You can find any sort of terrain imaginable right here. We didn't want to leave Chamonix, but as always, the Exile crew is running short on money and film. We also got a call from Damian. He said that the Blackcomb windlip was happening. So we returned Burt Lamar's car, just a little worse for wear, and hopped a plane back for the States.
The funnest time I've ever had snowboarding was the Blackcomb windlip. There's no jump like that. You could jump so high and so far and land the landings and just tweak so hard. Just even in hard boots, gosh. There was this guy tweaking in hard boots up there. You wouldn't have believed it. But this jump, if they wouldn't have destroyed this jump, it would be well worth driving all the way to Canada, jumping the jump one time, and turning around driving all the way home. That's how great this jump is.
We wanted to go back to Blackcomb to film at the infamous windlip. But after they looked at our promotional clip, which included footage from our first trip, they determined that our image was just too extreme and denied us free tickets to shoot on their mountain. Once again, we were feeling the effects of exile. It sucked. Soon after that, Damian talked to a local granola eater who told of a huge jump behind Alpine Meadows at the base of Twin Peaks. After a couple hours of hiking, the reward was in sight.
No, the scariest time I ever had snowboarding is really any day we go riding with Damian. Because, I mean, if there's anyone I've ever met, he's going the biggest, the highest, the fastest. Pushes you.
Captain, there are doubts regarding your ability to lead them. The men lead them. There are doubts in your ability. There's too many blinds in your analogy. Lieutenant, there is talk pertaining interpretation of problems. Describe them. Problems. There are doubts in your ability. There's too many blinds in your analogy. The enemy turns captain. The captain turns civilian. The lieutenant becomes casualty. The lieutenant becomes casualty. The enemy turns captain. The captain turns civilian. The lieutenant becomes casualty. The lieutenant becomes casualty. There are doubts in your ability. There's too many blinds in your analogy. There's too many doubts in your ability. There's too many blinds in your analogy.
My favorite trick right now is grasser reverts. Made it up. I don't know. No one else does it. It's pretty cool. It's
How does it
fun.
work?
Then you go backside wall to a grasser and then keep rotating it, over-rotate it, land fakie. It's pretty cool. Indie poke to fakies, over-rotating was good too.
Been a while since I thought of you, and a while longer I wish it'd been. 'Cause now it's easy to win. I wonder what you do when, but I know with who you do it with. Whoa, could we be friends though? Now you're our true friend, we just let go. The final chapter is inside now, and I know everything will be alright now. I never thought I could be happy without you by my side. And then I get this feeling inside I was reeling. The part that loved you just died. Whoa, can we be friends though? Now you know it's true friends, we just let go. The final chapter is inside now. I know everything will be alright now. Now there's no need to fuss or fight over who is wrong or who is right. You go your way, I go mine. To keep this blues will hail with you and that, 'cause that's all I ain't got. Nowadays it's more than I ever had. At times I think I want you, and then I know I brought you through the good and the bad. Whoa, could we be friends though? Now you know a true friend will just let go. The final chapter is inside now, and I know everything will be alright now.
Winter had been over for 3 months when we received the call from Snowboarder magazine. They asked if we wanted to go to film in New Zealand for 10 days. For years, we'd heard rumors of New Zealand's mile-long powder runs, helicopter rides that put hair on your chest, and bungee bridges well over 200 feet tall. Taking all this into consideration, we told them we'd think about it, as we hung up the phone and headed for the American Airlines check-in counter. First class, of course. Flying to New Zealand was more than any of us had bargained for. Their seasons are the opposite of ours. Here we were, flying halfway around the globe in search of powder in the middle of our summer. Steve Graham had just come from the beach with double overhead swells fresh in his memory. Dan Donnelly said if there was snow, it was a go.
Compassion is our direction. Don't stop your ear at my cry. With his love and my people, in the wrong today, we know you pay.
At Mount Hutt, you can use the chairlifts or access the backcountry by helicopter service. There's nothing like it. If you've got the dough, spend it on the helicopter. It's well worth it.
Sing it in the heart. Sing it in the heart.
waking up, going to work, and complaining about work all day. If you're complaining about it so much, then why are you there? And you should just be out doing what you want to do, no matter what you're doing, as long as you're having a good time. That's all that counts.
My sweet ice flower is what I see. Time to see your family. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Sing it in the heart. 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 Oh, well, it's alright, it's alright. We're singing in the heart. Well, it's alright, it's alright. Sing it in the heart. Sing it in the heart.
Coming over the ridges at high speed when the helicopter made like it was gonna stall.
Sing it in the heart. Sing it in the heart.
From Mount Hutt, we traveled to Queenstown. Hidden deep in a canyon just outside of Queenstown is the world-famous bungee bridge, Skippers, 230 feet of pure adrenaline.
I thought that the trip was almost foiled twice. Now we're here. Now I'm scared.
It's a good-looking drop. It's not bad. It's kind of scary.
It was like before when we couldn't make the trip.
7.
Yeah, shit, too bad. I would have jumped that so easy. Yeah, what a sissy jump. What? You mean they're here? I just still don't think we're gonna be able to go though. I don't think we have time. We're not gonna make the flight. No, it won't go. We're gonna try and get there. Yeah, we'll doubt we'll make it. Now we're here.
Hey, Michael.
Now I'm swallowing lumps. Skippers, I thought we were going for fish and chips. But here we are.
I won't be nervous until I'm standing right where he is right now. See, watch this. Film this. Hobbling out. Like you got one leg.
And then look at that thing
And then,
bounce.
yeah.
It's ready to break off.
Yeah.
It sure would be easy to chicken out. I sure would like to chicken out. But with a group of guys like Andy, I'd rather jump off and die than get gurned the rest of my life.
Yeah, you look a bit scared over there.
One of you guys has got to do the elevator. Who's got the most?
I'm gonna do it.
Is it really? Is that better? What do you do? Do you
I'm
step
doing
off
the
like
elevator.
this?
You gonna do it?
Yeah.
Well, the elevator is the most frightening way of getting off the bridge.
Ready?
You're looking up all the way.
Ignition sequence start. Engines
Okay,
on.
Danny, here we go.
5,
5, 4, 3, 2.
our way to the Harris Mountains, we stopped at the Carews Sheepskin Boot Factory. We told them we needed new boots. They said, catch them yourselves.
The best thing about New Zealand is waking up in the morning and not know what's going to go on, and by the end of the day we've done about 1 million different things, you know, like bungee jumping and heli skiing, little bull riding, found a mechanical bull, that was pretty fun to ride, and every day we did something different.
New Zealand is definitely the land of adrenaline. If it scares you, then it must be worth doing. That's what the Kiwis believe, and I think we'd have to agree. And you can definitely bet we'll be back to the land of adrenaline next year. Winter was finally over, and not a bit too soon. But then we got a call from Thruster Waterski Boards. They asked us to do some product testing on the new board. So with Chris Roach in charge, we headed out to the lake. It was a good winter. There were many enjoyable memories, not to mention a few lessons learned. Snowboarding is still a new sport, but when we were at Mount Baker and saw 5 snowboarders to every skier, we knew that it was just going to keep growing. In the late 80s, the ski industry was faltering. It was predicted that it was a non-growth industry into the year 2000. But with the advent of snowboarding and recent snowboarder growth, the statisticians in their ivory towers are rethinking their forecasts and positions. 95% of all ski areas allow snowboarding today. That's pretty impressive considering that just 3 years ago that number was a mere 40%. The individual's right to choose whichever form of alpine descent needs to be upheld. You, as a citizen of the world, have the inalienable right to live your life the way you choose. Everyone has different ability levels. Whether a 2-foot air or a 20-foot air gets you off, it doesn't matter, it's all adrenaline. Realize your own limitations, but don't be afraid to try new things and to push yourself to the next step in snowboarding or any part of your life. Exile was a term we coined for the prejudices we felt were being done to snowboarders around the world. We hope that Snowboarders in Exile will break down some of those barriers. So from the cast and crew of Snowboarders in Exile, we hope you had as much fun watching it as we did doing it.
I don't have an image really. I just jump. Jumping is it. Jumping is what it's all about.
When we're out there filming, we're there just to do it. We're not doing it because the cameras are on. That's what we do every day. After snowboarding, I'm going day by day. I don't know.
There is no after snowboarding for Steve Graham.
I'm just gonna snowboard till I die.
cry.